Hi.
Hello, hello.
Welcome to Track Girl Summer. I am your host, Natasha Hastings, and this is my co host, Kori Carter, and we are bringing the culture to track and field.
Yes. Track girl summer. Track girl summer.
Follow me, Natasha Hastings, Twitter, IG, YouTube, Facebook. Follow the Kori Monster, Twitter, IG, YouTube. But most importantly, follow Track Girl Summer. Subscribe to us here on the YouTubes. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram. And also hit up trackgirlsummer.com to get that merch. Okay, trucker hats, t-shirts, and tag us in your photos so that we can feature you in our Fit Check segment. We are bringing the tea, the shenanigans, all the things every Monday, Wednesday, Friday. But most importantly, we are bringing you your favorite athletes. And we have one of your favorites. I almost said tonight, but whatever. Yeah, tonight.
Whenever this airs.
When this airs. So we'll get into it, but first up is the fit check. Oh no, Kori. Oh, you were frozen for a little bit.
I'm good. I know, I saw that. Yes. Today's fit check, just a track girl summer shirt, and we like to give our flowers to our guests, and so of course I had to have my yellow flower in, and then Natasha saw me and was like, "Oh, let me get a flower too," and of course Kovu knew the assignment. Kovu knew the vibes.
First of all, the way Kovu
Understood the
popped up on the
assignment.
screen.
Like,
Oh my goodness.
young king.
Oh my goodness. Understood the assignment is an understatement.
The shenanigans always with Kori and Kovu. And Kovu just looking like, Mom, why? Why?
Loves it. But like, he's a big Alysia fan, so he was like, of
Oh,
course.
come over.
I'm just here with the mom vibes today. I'm just going to keep it funky. Y'all have seen this outfit already. It's been a day, but I've got my flower in honor of our guest today. And so I think with that, we should go ahead and introduce the lady of the hour.
Yes, and I am a fan of her, although she is a Berkeley Bear, but that's okay. Alysia went to Cal, where she was the 2007 indoor champion and outdoor champion in the 800. She at the 2010 World Indoor Championships at Doha, she got bronze. She also got bronze at the 2011 World Championships in Daegu. She was fourth in the 2012 Olympic Games in London. She was the bronze medalist at World Championships in Moscow in 2013, and she got first in 2015 at the World Relay Championships and the 4x800, where they set the American record. She's also the American record holder in the indoor 600. She is a 7-time U.S. Track and field champion. And without further ado, Alysia Montano.
Hello. Hello. I am blushing over here.
You
Good.
You guys are so cute. I love it so much. Your flowers are everything. You guys are giving me life.
Oh, you
Well,
give
we
us
tried.
life. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me, Natasha. I also understand the multiple outfits. Although you are always the best dressed. Like, can we just say that? Period. All day long with the tea.
I've been slacking though. The mom life, I've recently had to check myself of like, all right, girl, it's hard, but don't. So but like my new aesthetic is like loungewear, but like try to keep it cute and stylish. But yes, you know the mom life will change
I
things.
know the mom life, yes.
Yes.
We
But
know
I
the
want more
mom
of
life.
your mom life in my life. So I don't really love that you're like claiming mom life, but you stay like cute all day long.
I will accept.
Putting me to 100% shape, but I'm trying. So I look at your outfits on Instagram and I'm like, okay, how do I duplicate? Can't. Fine.
Instagram is not real.
You need to be a stylist for us people, this little small ones out here that are trying.
You know what?
Here's the thing, Alysia. Yes, Natasha is a fashion icon. We know this. However, we are all sitting here with flowers in our hair because she is what?
Because of,
A
thank you.
setter.
Okay.
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 You
I
know,
like that.
when you speak about Alysia, everyone says, "Oh, the girl with the flower." Like, you have a signature look, signature lurk, and I'm not going to allow you to downplay yourself on Track Girl Summer. That's what we're not about to do.
Not at
Okay. Okay.
all.
You
Not
okay?
at all. There are
I
a
feel
few memorable things about you
like
though. Like you're
Mhm.
the girl with the flower in her hair. You're the girl who ran, or excuse me, the woman who ran at US Nationals like pregnant. People were panicking like, "Oh my god, is she going to have her baby on the track?" And I'm like, "Oh my god, do you really think a mom would put her and her baby in danger?" Ridiculous. But like you are the woman that's known for many things. So let us get into the
The
things.
things.
okay. Okay. Okay.
Well, since we talked about it in the fit check, how did we start with the flower? Why yellow? Like, where did it come about?
So the flower has evolved to any color. So it could just be like whatever the day is calling for. That's what flower pops up in the head. Um, but it started when I was a young
I'm wearing
girl.
the OG.
I love it. I love it. I grew up in, well, it was the smallest town at the time. It's grown a lot more since then, but with a bunch of boys. And we played sports all day long. Like, you name it, grew up really close to my cousins. My grandma had 10 kids, so like it was a party every day, any reason. But anytime we got together, there was some sort of sporting event. It was whether we were like in a swim competition, we were racing the steps of the museum, we were playing street hockey, flag football. Well, it was actually true tackle football, but I'm gonna call it flag. Um, and so, and it was totally great with my family. Like, you know, I've been a great athlete, all around athlete. I like to call myself just an all around athlete. Just happen to only showcase how fast I can run. Um,
Love
but
that.
right, but so with that being said, you know, I would always compete with my cousins, and they were all boys. But when the neighborhood kids would come around, they would be like, "Oh, your sister can't, you know, she can't play with us because she's gonna get hurt, and then we're not gonna be able to play anymore." And it would just infuriate me. So it would happen every so often. There would be some new kid that would come around, and then the other neighborhood kids that I already knew would be like, you know, and it'd make me more just like ready to bust someone's head off, especially when we're playing football. So there was this. It's just the day it started and then never ended. Was, you know, there was this kid that was just so, he was like a bully, you know. He was just so mean about me playing. They're like, okay, fine, my sister's gonna play free safety then. So they put me in the back. Safety is the last person, the last defense person before the touchdown, before the end zone for the other team to score a touchdown. And so they put me back there, and they knew like she's not letting anybody get past her. And then this kid comes down, and I just like saw red. I don't even remember the full everything that was going on, but I just gunned it for him. I dove, tackled him, we skid. There was a daisy in the ground. I picked it up and I was like 10 years old, so I was like, and I'm a girl, you know, like super cocky. Icebox was my like jam. Remember that? Little Giants? Uh, and then
Wait.
it stuck ever since then. So every time we played, they were like, "Oh, Lisa, your flower." And so, yeah, the
So
I
from
love
memories.
that
that you
little
were like,
girl, first of all, let me ram you into the ground and then I'm going to pick up this flower like a
and I'm
girl.
cute.
Like that was that campaign way back then, right?
Beauty
Right,
and
Like
a Beast.
right.
wow.
I
And
was
I
then
women
was
like,
not expecting that.
I
I don't
wasn't
think I've ever
expecting
heard
that
that
either.
story. I honestly, I was like, I don't know where we going, but I'm here for the journey.
I love it though. That was dope. And then it's continued with you from then through college,
yeah,
professional, today.
yep,
I love that.
yep,
I love
yeah. And
that.
there's always been like just a fierceness to, you guys know this. Every time somebody tells you you can't do something for no other reason other than how you appear, you're like, okay, then watch me.
Exactly.
Literally. Yep.
Yeah.
And you said you were an athlete. You just happened to only get to showcase how fast you are. How
Yeah.
did you like then end up specializing in running and the 800 of all events. Because
Oh
I
my
love
god.
800-meter runners, but I'm gonna tell you the one race I hate running.
Same.
Mm-mm. Mm.
Respectfully. Respectfully.
Respectfully, because I can never.
Oh my goodness.
Also,
You guys got that. I know both of you especially, but anyway.
correct me if I'm wrong. Was your dad a soccer player?
My dad was a football
A
player.
football? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
My
knew
dad
athletics was in the family somewhere. Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, my dad was a football player. He shattered his hip in a car accident and when he was 22, and that was
Mhm.
the end of that.
Okay.
Yeah,
Sorry. Thanks.
yeah,
Okay,
he's
so the 800.
fine. Oh, the 800. Let's get back to that. Yeah, you know what? Let me tell you, I tried to escape it several times. So
I don't blame you.
they kept coming back and just grabbed me. So, I've been running. They did all sports since I was allowed to do sports. So in our town, a lot of rec sports. California, Southern California, it's much like Texas, Florida, all the big states, and we had track and field. I played soccer, I played basketball, and I really only wanted to run track because my older cousin was running track, and that was the only sport where all of us can be on the same team because
Mm-hmm.
I was the only girl. So I was like, I need, and I was the youngest. So I was at the time I was the youngest. We have a younger cousin and two younger girls now. But before that, it was just me being like, wait, I'm not on their team. So I was actually the one that was like, I want to run track, but I was like, to be the tag along little sister.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then, I would do all the sprints, and I did long jump, and it was around like fifth grade where they were like, they did this presidential test. We used to have this thing called a presidential test, and I ran 5:05 in the mile. But I have like a baby, like much of us, I was like a baby deer. My legs were super long and lanky. I didn't know what that even meant. Um, and then they had me run the 1500 where I ran 4:45 in fifth grade, and they were like, okay, you need to run the 800. And I was all like, I just am a sprinter. I just want to jump. I need to just be on the relay teams. I just want to I'm here for the vibe. You know what I mean? Uh, and at the time, the 800 was not passing the vibe check. It was just like you guys said. It was very painful. It did all the opposite things of elation and joy and exhilaration. But I'm a competitor. So, the second the gun would go off, I'd be like, little Alysia, like, and it was, I made junior nationals. And then from there, I almost quit track. I was like, I'm not having as much fun as I am in soccer and in basketball. And, it just started to get it felt like a lot of pressure for like a sixth grader, and I would win all the time. And then it felt like the end of the world when you didn't win. And then, but by slowing down and taking a breath, I left half of one season. It was before it even started, just like in the practice phase when the season started. And I I speak in meters, everyone, but I lived about 400 meters from the high school where the track was. And I could hear the whistle blowing after I missed like the third practice. And I was like, oh, I miss my friends. So I ended up back. And so wherever coach put me is where I
3
ran. So I
days.
would run yeah, I
3
really just miss my friends.
Okay, I'm
And
sorry.
so, right? And so wherever coach put me from
I'm
then
glad
on,
she said I like took a break and it was all of
Yeah,
3 days.
I really thought she was gonna say like a year, 2 years, 3 days.
well,
Because
the
she
way
said
that
half of a season, and it went from half a season to half of a week.
okay, but the way that it was in youth track is like it's like 8 weeks long, so it is almost half a week.
Okay, all right.
You know what
We'll
I
give you
mean?
that. We'll give you that. We'll give you that. We needed
And
context. We needed
and
context.
we're very seasonal. We're very seasonal. It's like,
Yeah.
soccer's one season, basketball's another season, track's another season. So like the whole other, I don't know, what is it, 3 months of the whole year? So it's like the whole other how many years? Like 9 months.
No.
You're
I
doing
wasn't
something.
right. I wasn't thinking about it at all. And so when it popped up, I was like, no, I'm good. Um, and so, yeah, my friends brought me back. And then from there on, I went to high school. My coach, who's like family to me, my high school coach, his son, not to make this, sad, but there is a sad component to the story, but his son was a really good friend of mine, and he died of leukemia in eighth grade.
Mm.
And when I showed up to high school, he was a high school track coach. My brother was already on the team, and when I showed up to high school, he was like, they wanted me to run cross country instead of basketball, play basketball, and I was like, I don't really want to do cross country. And he was like, Justin would really love for you to be on the team, and I was like, okay, I'm running cross country now, so I did all of basketball, in the summer, and then came, and all of a sudden I was doing cross country, and I enjoyed it because I love the team aspect. I like socializing. Obviously, I'm
Yeah.
still talking your guys' heads off. So
We love it though. That's why you're here.
That's what
But
yeah,
there's a couple of things that I'm hearing though, because at first I'm listening, and one of the things that Kori and I have uncovered in a lot of the people that we interviewed, or I don't like the word interviewed, chatted with,
yeah,
we have found that most people specialize later, but it sounds like you
yeah.
specialized a little bit earlier, but you were also still playing basketball into high school. So like,
you really
Soccer.
specialize.
yeah.
I played seasonal, so I played basketball,
Mhm.
soccer, and track. Um, and then after my freshman year, with cross country taking over, coach totally told me that, he's like, oh well, you can start on JV for cross country, no pressure. It's only 8 weeks long. And then if you make varsity, then we might go to state or whatever the whole thing. So it ended up being the whole fall because I made
He
varsity
got
and
tricked into it.
I
I
was
got
like, Alicia and JB just don't sound right to
right.
me.
He tricked me into it because JV was less time, and I was like, oh, I didn't do cross country before this, and yeah, so that's what ended up happening. But yes, you're right. Like I wouldn't really call it specializing. It was more our parents being like, these kids are wild. They have a lot of energy. They love competing. They love being together. And my cousins, myself, and my brother, we liked being together. So being a part of our rec sports was just like a way to burn us out.
Hmm.
You know that, Natasha.
Hmm.
And
I was like,
burn us,
she's telling my whole life.
right? Exactly. Burn us out, but also have us, learn a lot from sports. And so it wasn't really, I wouldn't really call it specializing. It was kind of, I think there was a lot of trickery
Yeah.
into like,
Well, when I say
go,
specializing,
yeah.
no, when I say specializing, I meant like in terms of you finding the 800 so early on.
Oh, right.
But
Right. Yeah.
like, I love that, because I always say that that's the one regret that I have, that like I specialized
Mm,
very early on, but I also
yeah.
didn't try any other sports. So to hear that like you were so involved in other sports, like, yes.
Yeah. And I think that's what made me, to be honest, a good 800-meter runner. A lot
Mhm.
of, if you go back and you dig into a lot of 800-meter runners' background, they probably played soccer or some sort of sport where they like didn't stop running. you know,
Ajay played soccer,
um,
didn't she? Corey?
Ajay played
Yeah.
soccer. Molly Ludlow played soccer.
Mm.
Maggie Vesey. I'm thinking of my peeps. She
Contemporaries.
played soccer.
Mhm.
Yeah, so there was a lot of us that did. Phoebe Wright played soccer. Yeah, and
I feel like
Molly,
every kid in America has to play soccer. It's just like that's part of like going through.
right?
Just get on
Right.
your
But
ASO team.
I wanted to go further in soccer. To be honest, I was like, oh, I want to play soccer in college. I want to be a pro soccer player.
Dude,
It turns out I was a professional athlete, but it was in track. But yeah, so that was the deal. And I made the state meet my freshman year, and I still was not great with like a lot of the pressure that came with winning.
mhm.
I kind of just like I did it, like I would win, I'd keep winning, but I'd always be like, oh, if I don't win this, like
Mm. Okay.
what's everybody gonna think or say, And it just took, and it was great that I was doing a bunch of other sports because I got to like ground myself and be like, oh no, this is like sports are fun. And
Mhm.
so by the time I was my senior year in college, I mean in high school, I won the California State Meet. Took me 4 tries. I won the California State Meet, and I got like a full ride. And I didn't even know that you could go to college, like be paid, like have your college paid for, which is crazy, because of sports. And so I'm kind of happy that I didn't know that because that probably would have felt more pressure. It's just that I liked competing and winning was fun, and then the other side of how I felt when I didn't win, which I don't love. I don't want to like make that the message. I don't love that, but it's true about how I felt.
Mhm.
When I would
I think
win.
that's
My coach was
real.
really great. Yeah,
Yeah.
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 I wonder, when you got to college and then also as a pro athlete, you said that like you had these other sports to kind of take off like the pressure
Yeah.
of like I have to win, da da da. And in
Mhm.
college, it's like they're paying for my education, like I got to perform, and then you go
Yeah.
pro, and you're like, this is how I pay my bills, and they're investing. These companies are investing money in me, and they want me to win. It's
Mhm.
like my
Yeah.
contract, like hit these marks. So how
Yeah.
did you deal with that pressure? Because I feel like the pressure
Yeah.
didn't. It got even bigger, and then you
Yeah.
can't have these outlets because you
You
can't
gotta
play
focus.
another sport and be a professional athlete, collegiate athlete. Well, you sometimes can, but
Yeah, totally. No, I definitely think specializing started in college, and I was still on the cross country team. There's nothing to write home about. We can't find any evidence of that. That I was on it, but
come on, fall
that
training.
that was like that other sports, like, even though it was still running, sort of, where it was like I got to be a part of the team, got to travel together. There was definitely no pressure for me to win, but there were like I definitely felt pressure to score for my team. So I would be like number five. Um, and I liked that I could contribute to the team, so it always gave me a little bit of boost going into track season. And then my freshman year, like I still wouldn't have written home about Alysia really my freshman year, although I wanted to be good. I wanted to say thank you for the opportunity to go to the University of Cal Berkeley and have a full ride to be there and pursue my education. So there was all these things that I felt still took pressure off, even though that might sound like more pressure. It actually took pressure off to be like, oh, I'm focusing actually on my academics because like I'm super grateful to be at this university and I need to make sure that I do a good job here. I'm really focusing on at least scoring for my team in cross country, even though I know I'm not the best, but I'm going to do my darndest to like be as good as I can be for the team. And then so when track season came around, it was my time to like shine. I really just felt like I had so much mental relief for so many months that it didn't really mount by the time track season came along. So yeah, and then I also had like our prodigy at the time was Chloe Jarvis, and she was like the 213 runner, which was okay at the time. That ran 203, which was fast at the time. Everyone, I'm the class of '04 to '08, so all you youngins out there running too flat and sub, it's like don't like it was good, okay. And I saw her, so I felt like there was this like other person that was taking a lot of the pressure too.
Yeah.
So it wasn't until and I got this build, and then it was this thing where it was like, ooh, there was at the time was Rebecca Noble that was winning, and then you're like, ooh, for some reason it's like you're like, oh, relieve some of the pressure, but also I want to be on top. So like it's a very confusing mental space to be in.
I'm like really miffed listening to this because I'm looking at what's in front of me. 7-time USA champ. Um, I was there with you in 2000. Well, not with you, but like 2007. We were both
Yeah,
indoor and outdoor champs.
both broke a
Actually,
really big barrier. Yeah,
yeah, and I remember your 800 final was like after my 400 final indoor, so it was like
yeah,
anyway, having a little moment. I date myself a lot on the show, but I'm happy to have a sister, a 2007, 2008 sister, class of '04 to '08.
yeah,
But you're talking about managing this pressure and like, I mean, I guess it sounds like you found a way to manage it. Like nobody likes pressure. That's the thing too. Like nobody likes it, but we find a way to manage it. And it
yeah.
sounds like you were kind of like bouncing back and forth during your collegiate season, but I mean, 7-time
That's what I was
US
gonna say.
champ.
Because I've always seen you as one of like during your career, I would say that you were the most dominant mid distance runner in the U.S. Period. And you probably would have been way more
And
dominant
internationally.
on. I was getting to that. I was gonna say you would probably have been way more dominant on the international stage had some people been competing clean.
Right.
And we're going to that. But I wonder so you go from I'm not even the star of my college team to NCAA champ, and then you like just take over US mid distance. Like, how were you able to become this dominant force, this girl with the flower, that everyone feared.
Oh my goodness. And it's so funny because I actually don't even know if my interviews ever go like this. I don't know if this is like kind of out there. I just feel super comfortable just chatting with you guys about just the real build up without having to be super like, ooh, inspirational. Everybody follow your dreams. Um, you know what? I guess maybe how this all went down for me is because like I somehow, and I don't know the answer, I don't have an answer really for like how I mitigated my ideals on the mental side of things and the pressure to just being like, oh, actually, like, oh, I do have fun doing sports with the balance. So maybe it was like the balance side of things that really helped me get into track and like really get into track season and really narrow my focus because I wasn't all year long, and I still can't really do that. All year long, I couldn't be on. I just could not be on. Like into my professional, and I think that's maybe what made me like do well for so long is because I carried that with me as I went further. Like really, I really just did not stay on. My coach knew the type of athlete that I was and would be like, you know what, in the off season, you need to go play soccer. You really enjoy doing that. Go like I need your measuring stick of when you need to come back to be how you feel mentally. And maybe because I was and because I'm so intense and people wouldn't guess that, like that know me, all my friends and everything like that, like when they see me on the track, they're like, whoa, who is this person? It's just, you guys know that it's the Sasha Fierce. It's like something is preserved in all of those other things that I do that when I show up to the track and track season, I'm like, this is who I am right now, and this is what I'm doing right now, and all my focus is here, and I'm not about to waste my mental energy or my physical energy and all the things I said no to on showing up here and not giving everything that I have. So, um,
So,
yeah, I think there was that self preservation that was happening because my North Star has been and always will be happiness. I don't know where that started, but I mean, it's even me being like, now, oh, I also want family, but I also want to come back to professional sports. So, because my North Star is happiness, and I know family is going to be there at the end of every single thing that I do, and they always have been, no matter what, like winning, losing, whatever the whole thing is, injury, my family has always been there at the end of everything. I think that's also part of what's uh, kept me grounded. And I've had great teammates, I've had great coaches that when I am like, oh, what if I don't win this, And I think the other thing that helped me is I didn't know that much about the stages of track and field. I had no idea there was a world championships when I won in 2007, USA Nationals. I didn't know there was world champs. So they handed me this flag with, the Japanese flag, and I was all like, we need the American flag, I'm like,
Shut up, Alysia. You didn't know we were
I'm,
going to
I'm,
Osaka? I
I'm
can't.
dead serious. I had no idea. Yeah, exactly. My coach was like,
she didn't
no,
know
you're
you
one
could
of
get
our kids.
a collegiate scholarship.
I
Like,
didn't know I could get a scholarship. I didn't know what the stages were from PAX to regionals to nationals. I was just kind of like, yay, here we
I
are.
won
Obviously,
this race.
after my freshman year, I was like, okay, so this to this. But what's the highest thing that we could do here? Oh, and my coach just kept it collegiate. So I was like, okay, nationals, like that's my goal. And then by the time it was my junior year, it was my sophomore year where I made it to USA Nationals, I was like, oh, there's like a whole professional scene here. But, so then the next goal was, oh, I want to get to USA Nationals next year and I want to win. And I won USA Nationals in 2007. Then they hand me this flag and I'm like, oh, there's a whole world championships after this. Like I felt like
That
that
makes
was
sense because '06 was an off year, right? So you went to nationals, and then you
yeah.
went to 2000. Okay, all right.
The other thing that kept happening to me was once I started like I always wanted to win. Just don't like get that twisted, even though I'm saying
We didn't get that
with
twisted.
pressure with
I
You
it,
didn't
like
get that twisted at
lost.
all.
exactly. Okay, but like I there was something about the fact that I kept getting burned though. Like I kept, I made nationals. There's nothing to write home about my freshman year. Like I made nationals, the finals. I ran a PR there. I was very excited about me running a PR, but it was like 2:05, and like I only didn't get last because someone fell and I jumped over them, like with 10 meters left to go.
Yeah, but
And then I was like, oh, I want to do better my sophomore year. My sophomore year, I was doing really well. Like I kept finishing second behind Rebecca Noble, and then I finished third at nationals. And then there's that little fire to be like, oh, I'm actually pretty good at this. And I felt like there was just that buildup of actually training for the 800, where I was like getting more confidence as I was going.
Mm-hmm.
That kind of had me doing that, but I was getting burned in a way where, like I finished fourth, at least I felt like that. I finished fourth at USA Nationals my sophomore year, having like been 205 the year before that, and I ran 201 the next year. And I started like calculating what the trajectory could be to actually like make an Olympic team. Like, oh, I think I can do this by the next Olympics. And but like I don't listen anymore, and here I am doing broadcast analyst work, and I'm like, oh, like super self conscious because I don't want anybody to be like, she totally dissed me. But but they were like, the next year in 2007, where I had that storybook season where I was undefeated, they scanned across and they were like, oh, an unknown. And I was like, I'm the fastest returning collegiate, and they were like, showed everybody and stopped before me, and then I was like, oh, I'm about to win this. And then that's where I won my first national championship. And then that was all she wrote. But like everything before that was, and even up to that, even as a professional, it felt like, they were kept looking for someone else to be the champion. So like they kind of gave me
The
A
fight.
reason, a chip on your shoulder.
they
I,
gave me a lot of fuel in doing that. So
I wanted to ask you about that since you are a broadcaster now, because
yeah.
I read your article on Runners, was it Runner Space?
Runner's World. Yeah.
Runners World.
You're frozen.
And you said
Start,
okay.
start it over.
You said that they kept trying. You said that they kept trying to find someone else to be the star, and I would love to know why do you think that was?
Oh, this is loaded. I feel like we need to be like on the couch, and I need a glass of wine.
Please get a.
Uh,
We can go.
We try to have real conversations here,
yeah,
and like I can tell you why I think.
yeah. I'd love to, have all the ears and thoughts and what other people see. It is validating to know. I had after that article, the Runners World article, Phoebe Wright texted me right out the gate. It was like, oh, it didn't take us rocket scientists to see what was going on, and I mean,
And
like
Phoebe
you
is a
said,
real one.
like you said, I won 7 national titles, and there was just this. I felt like the fuel to the fire was the dismissal of like my build. Like we can celebrate everybody. We can. I understand in broadcast there is a short period of time, but like if somebody is the clear defending champion, I feel like we shouldn't be looking for somebody else to like talk about at the same time. Don't forget this person. Not saying you can't bring in other stories.
Mm-hmm.
But it was always like, oh, it's, I'm defending champion already, and be like, Alysia, Montano, woo, so and so, blue to do, do, and I'd be like, this is like my 4th national title, and I don't know. I tried not to let it like
Affect you.
yeah, or like infect my soul. I wanted to like show up for my competitors in a way where like, I loved them still, and I was knowing that we were all a piece of each other's greatness.
Mm-hmm.
And that the media's side of things, and knowing that the media side of things is like there's something else that's at work for those people and for how they are thinking through this, and this actually isn't me. But at the same time, I'm going to keep doing my work. I'm going to continue to like showcase and my talent, utilize my talent. I'm not going to let it go to waste just because somebody might believe something else about me. But there are times where you're like, dang, did I not do enough? So I don't know. Like when I unpack that, it is like it's a hard thing to note that it's not even just a feeling. America and America's media. I mean, it's been happening for so long. The way that you see how a Black athlete gets less sponsorships, eyes on them, than a white athlete, and that's just really cut and dry of what's been happening. And I felt like for me, they were always looking for like a lighter, wider version of me to be America's 800-meter hero.
So there was a moment in the broadcast this summer that I remember you. And listening to that now explains this moment. Um, it was during the 800, and I don't remember the gentleman's name who you were broadcasting with, but
Oh,
he was talking about, gosh, what country was she from?
yes, Rose Alamanza,
Alamanza.
Cuban athlete.
Sorry,
Was it the Cuban
the
athlete?
Cuban, and she
Hmm.
run a fast time for the year. And he made a comment like, she'll have to do it here against these women. And you came in and you said, whether or not she ran it at home or she ran it wherever, she still ran 150, whatever it was. And I was like, you get him, Alysia.
I
I
mean, that's the
Not
thing. I always
remember that moment, and it's so true. And we've talked about it here on the show that, you know, talk about like filling the spaces. And
yeah,
I say, from everything from the op-ed in your New York Times, the with your motherhood journey, and I've said that, the difference in me making the phone call to my sponsor was that I made the phone call to women, right? But
right,
also in the way that our stories are told, there's not enough of us and there's not enough
right,
of women
right.
telling our stories and representing us. And so I'd love to hear, because I feel like you're one of those people that's not just talking it, you're actually walking it and doing,
Mhm.
as opposed to just hollering and screaming. And
Right.
I
Yeah.
I vividly remember that moment watching the broadcast, like, yeah, don't you dare minimize that girl's accomplishment, what she's done. She's here now, and if she's done it before, she can do it again. And just
Right.
hearing you walk down of like how that was done to you, and now to see you like, I'm gonna fill this space and I'm not gonna do that to another woman, to another competitor.
That's
And I
exactly it. Hmm.
And I also feel like it doesn't matter whether you're in track and field, whether you're in sports. I feel like there is this constant theme. And like I was told, I remember having this conversation with my parents as like a child, like, you have to be excellent. You have to be twice
Yeah.
as good as your white counterparts to get half of the recognition. So when you said,
Right.
did I not do enough? It's like, no, of course, like, look at your
Yeah.
resume. You did, you of course you did enough, but like I feel like it's never going to be enough, if that makes
Yeah.
sense. And
Yeah.
you have to at some point just be like, either I'm just going to be okay with that, or I feel and like just know that I'm doing this for me, which I feel like you did in your, which is what I feel like you said in your pro career. But I feel like now you are becoming part of the solution in that, like, okay, these broadcasters don't see us,
Hmm.
I can see us.
Hmm. That's right. And it's interesting. Like don't get me wrong. There are definite like very soul crushing moments where you're like I am working so hard. I'm working, 20 times, and I know that same here. Like I know that I have to. I can't. I don't have an option to quit. I don't have an option to like. I have to keep, striving for more. Like there's the podium and then some. Like I have to be there. If I want, a sponsorship or a contract, I have to do this and this.
Mhm.
And when our counterparts can just perform, which is which is great too. Um, and I think that one of the hardest things I think that I'm facing right now, and that's why I love what you guys are doing with Track Girl Summer, is because it gives you more of an authentic and real voice of like all the small pieces and more time to talk about it. One of the things that I think is frustrating being on broadcast is it still is a small blip of time, and it is a media service. So it's like the brand of the media, of that media service, is like, oh, but we don't say this, we don't do this, we do this, and we do this.
Mhm.
And I'm, you know, if you guys, I'm like, oh, like I can't allow for there to be any more silencing of our voices and like really
Mhm.
the story that truly needs to be told, or how we're not going to call a period the M word. We're gonna call it a period or a menstrual cycle. We're not gonna. This is what we're not gonna do. We're not gonna pretend like like I feel like I have a lot of this is what we're not gonna do moments.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so that I just want to go back to Natasha talking about Rose. I feel like the hard part is um, I feel like I'm still fighting older white men,
Mm-hmm.
but like, I mean, just to call it what I really do think I still am, like, there's way more, things that are also like, when we talk about performances of Black women and how they look when they're performing. And it's like I know I have a job to do. I'm going to be able to, I need to insert wherever I can about what this person said, but like I feel like it's fight night inside of my soul. And my practice as a professional is to really give enough of a soundbite that allows for the general audience to see that moment and how they can redirect their thought process and like really pick those pieces up that you did that are like, oh, yeah, actually, I'm going to see it like that, instead of how it's been set up for so long without women and women that look like us in these spaces.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I wanted to get to another. I feel like you are a champion for so many causes, which I love. And one of the things that you are a real advocate is for clean sport, because you've had, I want to say it's
Kori, we
two up,
this Wi-Fi.
three upgrades,
Drop.
three upgrades.
Ask the question again.
Ask the question again. This Wi-Fi.
You, sorry, I'm working on it. But you're an advocate for clean sport, and it's touched you personally. You've had three upgrades, but we always say like upgrades are no sort of consolation prize. I remember you. I want to say it was Doha. Was it Doha where you brought your? Was it Doha where you brought your family to get? And
Yes.
I was just like, this is great. I'm glad that she got to have her whole family here. But at the same time, I'm like, and correct me if I'm wrong, but like it's not the same.
It's not the same. Actually, to be honest, Doha, like, you guys hear the sirens?
Yeah.
This time.
Sorry.
Real life.
You know what I'm saying? It's where I live. It's fine. Everybody's fine, I'm sure. No, you know what I was gonna say? What I think about Doha and having a delayed medal ceremony after the athletes that were doping ahead of me were caught, and then my medal handed down to me. Such a bitter moment. Like I still even feel like that little feeling right here
Mm-hmm.
when you're like, I'm oh, by the way, I'm such an awkward, emotional person. I just laugh. So like, I honestly don't think it's
Same.
funny.
Same. Same. I laugh at the worst times, and I have to
Right? Like,
apologize.
Oh,
It's not funny. I'm just
yeah,
uncomfortable. Same.
yeah, exactly. It's either laugh or cry. So I'm gonna just be giggling randomly. But anyway, I felt like it's so bitter. Like it's bitter even now mentioning it. Like I feel like I have severe justice fatigue. Like I'm so tired
Mm-hmm.
that the most basic things that a clean athlete, a Black woman, like just deserves, and that we actually achieved, earned, and should get our due roses at that time. It's just very frustrating to also know that it's like a consolation prize after this really big award is minimized to pennies. And even though it's like my family got to be there and we made the best out of it, because what am I my thing is, it's my practice, my life practice. Like, what am I to do? Am I to cry for the rest of my life, even though this still sucks? It's like, if I don't show that I'm crying every single day, do people not know that this still is horrible? It is. And so I had my whole family there, but I was 20 weeks pregnant with my third. I had the worst sciatica in that pregnancy. Got on a flight. It was a 20-hour flight with Uh,
Two toddlers.
exactly, a 1.5-year-old, and I think Linnea was maybe 5 at the time. She's 7, so my math. She's 4, and it was a lot. It was a lot, but like we went in like, here we go, guys, we're going on an adventure, and it's like that flip is because what am I? I'm gonna somberly like walk in with my bags and my family and be like, thank you. Like no, like I have to be like, okay, how am I gonna flip this so that my spirit is happy and I can at least walk away without letting the dopers win. Like I feel like the dopers win. I feel like
They do.
um, you know what I mean? And it's just it anyway. So I'm just that's the whole positive spin. But I constantly have to do this like positive spin of things, and I also want the positive spin to be give me my money. Like it's
Hold on.
crazy that
We do a thing
the
here.
protection.
Say that one more time.
The thing is, give me my money. And that's just a fact. Like I'm just like the whole way that this whole Russian doping scandal happened, and then to say, but we get you medals and you get to come to Doha and you get your medal ceremony. There was nobody in the stands in Doha. My family, my mom and my dad came. I had to fight for. Are we talking real right now? Because like I had to fight for my parents, who are both teachers, to get some of their flight paid for. They were about to have them try to come out of pocket or not come at all. And they paid for the room. And this is us. USATF basically was the one that had to take this over. IAAF did nothing. They were about to pay for me to show up for the medal ceremony and fly back home. I'm dead serious. And my flight still was extended to 72 hours. So the day before the medal ceremony, and then I got to be out the next day. That's what we did with 2 kids, one in my belly, and my parents. What I've been paid is about to be $1,000, which is I'm dead serious. I'm about to. That's it. I'm getting. The USOPC is paying the difference from 4th to 5th because they have this Operation Gold, which apparently is $500 from 4th to 3rd. But the IAAF World Athletics has a protection policy that isn't a protection policy. Their policy says that the only way that an athlete who has been cheated out of medals and receives their medals later can get paid is if the athlete that earned the athlete that has the medal ahead of them
So
wants to return to competition, and they have to pay it back. Other than that, like, sorry that happened, but here's your medal. Like, if you here's the medal, like, give me my money. And that's just what it is. And there's so much that's so frustrating about this. We can go in forever. I know you guys don't have all the time, but
No,
like,
you're just scratching the surface because you're
yeah,
talking
exactly.
about the earnings from the IAAF and
and your bonuses in your contract, like
about your
that,
bonuses,
and that could have rolled over
appearance,
the
Exactly.
prize money you would have gotten as the medalist throughout the
The
whole
appearance
diamond
fee,
league,
yeah.
it, appearance fees, all of that stuff. Okay,
And
I'm sorry.
I remember
Upset
going into
for
the
you.
Olympic year after 2011, knowing like, oh, gosh, I hope they're going to catch them this year, so it'll be great. When
You
I'd be
knew.
on the phone
You knew when you're running
people who
against
are
them.
looking for exactly when people are looking with the Olympic sponsors and they're saying, oh, do you have any medals? And I'm like, it's going to be coming. That is the difference between those Olympic sponsorships when they come on those years. Like if you don't have a medal,
Mhm.
you don't get paid. It's like, oh well, we can give you this like, we still love your personality and what you do, so like here's this. But like if you had a medal and it's literally a 6-figure contract that you don't get because I don't have the medal, and instead it's like $10,000. The difference is astronomical. And the Olympic sponsors want medalists, so even if it's world championship medalist, it deems you a hopeful for the following year. So, yeah, like you said, scratching the surface. And what is infuriating is that the IAAF were a part of this scandal. They were paid off bribes. So I said, you guys need to call up your boy and tell him to cut the check because figure it out.
Kori and I were also covering the games, and we were blown away at this ROC Federation. Like I
Russia,
saw that
Russia
like
2.0.
Hove. Hove is in the building. Like what? Like, and then like it's just the absurdity of it all that
Yes.
just
Rush is not here, but Rush is in the name. Like,
Yeah, no. I need
y'all
to
got
be where
matching
you guys
outfits.
are next Olympics because there's so much more that I want to say that we don't say that I was like, oh, yeah, no. It was absurd. It was like definitely didn't feel like they didn't serve their band.
right,
Yeah,
right.
they didn't.
Just got to like wrap it up. Okay, let's rebrand this. You know, it's almost like a moment for them to be rebranded. Like, what is this, Madonna? Like, this is what we not gonna do. Like, I had a lot of those moments. Like I said,
Yeah.
For the
and it's
sake of
hard.
time,
It's hard because I am legitimately biting my tongue because I am at work. And they do want you to bring your personality and your perspective, but there is like some like
a box you
oh we
play
don't
in.
yeah. Anyways, if you guys are looking for a third member of the band, I'm coming.
Come on, come on. We're gonna bring the couch to Eugene.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Let's do it.
I like I said, you're an advocate for all these causes.
Yeah. Not like
Advocate.
not like I was born and I was like when I grow up I want to be an
No,
activist. It's
it
like
it, it definitely is person. But I love that you take your personal struggles and you're like, well, let me make it better for the next person.
right.
Let me make it better for the next generation because you see like even with this year, it's like you said they kept looking for the next girl, and now it's like Ajay's been able to be the marquee girl. A thing's able to like be, the shining star, and it's because they stand on your shoulders.
Yeah.
And,
Oh,
and we
that's
even
so
have, I'll send you the clip because we even have Ajay saying that, and
Very
she said it was like Alysia does not get her flowers. So
mm. Oh my goodness.
we,
Thank you guys so much.
we
I don't even know what to say
deserve
about
and
that.
definitely appreciate you. But you are an advocate for mothers as well. And it's funny because it's like we were talking to Lashunda and she was like, when I got pregnant, like being for the moms was not a thing. And I know you went through your struggles and then you also created your own foundation and mother to advocate for mothers. But I would love, and we all know that moment where you got on the track, ran pregnant. I have a lot of questions to throw at you at once, but I guess
Yeah.
I would love to know about your journey to motherhood,
Yeah.
your fight for motherhood, and
Right.
also that decision to like perform pregnant. So a lot of things, but
Yes. I'm a mother, no drama. But there's so much drama. It's like, what do we do? So confused. Like, I'm literally like, I am so confused. I want to live that quote. Uh, um, you know, again, like, when you start showing up to places that you deserve to be in and then you're going to be pushed out of it, it's one thing. You have two options. You can scream and cry about it, maybe three. You can be silent, or you can help change the landscape. Um, and I do have to give a lot of credit to this Bay life that I'm living. You know, there's a lot of space given to voices of people trying to make change and encouragement to it, and going to the University of Cal Berkeley. I mean, I felt like I walked into one of the most amazing places in the world. Kori, you know it's true. But
the
uh,
day is great.
no, just like really of you know activists that have come before me, and again, like same sort of situation, not trying to be an activist, just knowing like there's so much change that needs to happen, and I'm at the front of it. I need to help make these changes, and so when it comes to my path towards motherhood, gosh, the story's long, but I'll give you guys a short version. You guys could,
Give it to us. Give it to
um, I remember. So I went to school for and studied the theater performing arts. Always been into entertainment. Wanted to do more production and direction in that space. I just love it. I love being able to create and be a part of it. Um, And so I was like, oh, I'm popping off out here on the track. This is great. I'm gonna give myself like, this is so funny, but like 2 to 3 Olympics. Like, who says that? But I was like calculating, you know. I was like, okay, I'm this, okay, this time, okay, ooh, but okay, but oh, there's good. If I want a kid, so like, let's go for 3. And so I knew, like, I was like thinking of my span of time as like, okay, I want to be able to go for 3 Olympics. And you guys know, you're all doing the calculations, you're doing the math, and you're seeing what makes sense to be able to do like another career path. But in that space of time that I wanted to be a professional track and field athlete, and I also wanted to be a mother, I did see like time, um, like talking to me, you know, time being like, okay, so like, how are we going to do all this? And I've talked to my coach about it. Like, once Luce and I got married, I was never the friend. Sorry to go back really quick. I was never the friend. If you ask my friends, that they wouldn't have guessed that I was going to be married and have kids the time that I did. They were like, oh, Alicia's free spirit. She good luck, you know. But but my husband and I had been friends since we were 12 years old. So he got like, you know, he passed the a lot of, you know, the check points. Very because of
what
that.
I'm wondering is, was he one of the boys that you were out here tackling?
Yeah, actually, ask him about it. So, you know, you know, boop, you know, we have photos of us super early on. He's standing next to me at the track. You know, we both had like best athlete in high school, like standing with each other, like, you know, when they need to do that, like fierce face. Um, but yeah, so he was one of my really close guy friends. And so, anyway, so when we got married, I remember talking to my coach and being like, okay, if I'm going to medal, I'm medaling. Like, if I medal, like, I think it'd be a really good time because I want to be able to, in my mind of minds, I was thinking, and again, when you've never been pregnant or, you know, been a mom, you have all these ideas of how things go too, you know? So
No.
like, right? So I was like, okay, I'm gonna do it like this, you know. So you like think that you're writing the whole book. So apparently I was writing the book, and the book was very different, but you know, it's fine. Um, and when I brought up to my coach, and I told my husband, I was like, you know what? If I don't medal, if I medal, then we can try in the off season, which was 2014. Um, and if I'm not pregnant by January, we got to scrap it, and I got to get ready for the next season. And then, but if I don't medal, then we have to wait for the next Olympics. Like that's kind of just how I wrote my. I don't know. That's how I wrote it. I'm telling you, I'm dead serious. I
I'm
don't know who
weak
has
because
to
I'm
have a
like,
conversation.
But I think this is great though, because I think, you know, we talk about female athletes starting a family and thinking about starting
Yeah,
a family. And these are the thought processes that we
yeah,
have to go through. What man is
yeah,
timing all of this down? Right?
no,
yeah.
So
it's
for
not even that. It's the, you know, if I medal, like I earned a baby.
Right, right. There's a
but
lot.
we
There's a
really
lot
start
to
talking to
unpack. There's
ourselves like
definitely a
that.
lot to unpack.
No, but and
Yeah,
it's real because
mhm,
I'm like I get it but it's just
yeah.
funny because it is so real that I'm like, that's how we think as athletes also, that we like, I have to hit these marks before I can live the rest of my life.
Totally, 100%, 100%, and thank you for like honestly validating that thought process because it just is real, and I'm talking to my coach about it. So like in other industries, you're not gonna like, you know, boss. My husband and I were talking, you know, like
Yeah.
like you just anyway. So I was talking to my, you know. By the way, like Tony, you know, you're not the boss. I'm the boss, but my coach. Um, and I said, you know, I was thinking about my timeline. I just wanted to like connect with you. Timeline, you know, like it's crazy, but it's real. That's how I thought about it. And he's like, oh, you can absolutely do it. I think it's very smart that you're thinking about it in that time frame, and you're gonna do a much better job recovering versus, you know, being an older athlete. So if you did do after the 2016 team, that's going to be great, but it is going to make it a little, he was just honest, you know, he was like, you're going to have to think differently about how you're recovering from it. It might make things a little bit more difficult. Who knows if he's right or whatever, but this is a conversation that we
Right.
have, you know? So in this like injuries, all these things talking about, so he talked about all these things about, um, you know, the body and how it recovers, and then how whatever. He did all his science. You know, coaches be doing their thing, and you just be like, collected. Thank you, computing, dialed in. Uh, And so I was like, well, we got a medal then because, I want to be able to come back and I don't want to struggle to doing it, even though it's still possible. Like, my mind was still saying, like, if I do it at this time. And so I ended up in finishing fourth in 2011 like wasn't really, it was after 2011 when we talked about it. 2012 I ended up finishing fifth, which is now fourth. We could talk about that too. Third place is first place now is Koistegova, who is the one that told about their exact regimen and gets to keep her medal because she basically took a plea deal, and outed Savanova, which is crazy. So that bronze medal's mine. But anyways, my coach and we talked about it, and I was like, oh, my goal was to medal, and I'm like wondering, and I'm thinking of
You
all
did
these places.
though. You did though. That's what's crazy.
So my thing is,
Sorry.
I'm so happy I had the wherewithal to look at still again. Like, we can totally unpack how us athletes, earn a baby. And I was like, that effort, what I did, that's a medal. And like, we totally unpacked it. My coach was like, honestly, and he talked about exactly what I did, how we broke it down. There's no like what you had to, and we even changed my race. Like, that's how I run the way that I run, is because we're like, if I need to beat the dopers, I have to get out and know that dying is going to be a part of the plan. The part of the plan is going to be they have to come catch me because I'm not going to be able to change a gear like they can and go after them. Like, I know that. And so we knew we were racing against dopers and we were racing against the clock. And so with that said, I was like, okay, 2013, I was like, I feel like I medaled, but let me get this medal in 2013. And it's just the same people in the same race. I ended up finishing fourth, which is our bronze medal now. And I'm so happy that I was able to like connect with enough people that were like, I see it. And I felt like, yeah, I need to be able to be happy with my entire life and not allow for these dopers to win over every single aspect of my life. And so out of that is where Linnea was born. So, and to go back a little bit, I know it's a long story, but to go back a little bit, when I started thinking about it, because when I signed my pro contract, I wasn't like, where is baby in this contract? I was like, this is what we do. I was 21, signing a contract, and that was me also deciding to stay another year when I was offered to go pro the year before. But I was like, I will never finish school if I don't, if I go pro right now. And going and talking to talking to Nike and being like, hey, so what happens if you get pregnant? And already knowing some of the stories, they're like, oh, we pause your contract and we stop paying you. I go, okay, this can't happen. But like, I know that I want to be able to continue my career. And that was the move over to ASICS, among other things, with, my sponsor at the time, but it turns out, like Natasha said, I had no woman to talk to. I did have a woman to talk to, not at Nike, but I had a woman to talk to at ASICS, which made me feel comfortable about the switch, even though I didn't feel comfortable about using the words pregnancy and postpartum. But when she left, the whole operation was blown up. Like, the second, and I just gave birth to my daughter, and they were like, so we're looking at your contract from your performance last year, and that's where, it just got really, really hard. The plan, the book that I was writing, we had to change a lot of pages.
Speaking of book, I don't want to forget, because we plug make sure that we plug the things that need to be bought. Send a Black woman some money. That's Kori's line. So we'll
Right.
put that link.
That's my cause.
But so much that you like you said, so much to unpack, because first of all, I appreciate your vulnerability, and this is not the first time that you've told this story and have shared this story, and you were completely open, honest, descriptive in that New York Times op-ed. But to hear this versus, to me, when I saw you go out on the track on the track with the belly, I was like, oh my God, this is so cool. Like, she's an athlete. And like, I remember arguing with people like, that's so crazy, why did she go out there? I was like, do you know who she is? Like, do you really think? And so throughout the process, to hear that you were essentially having this inner war right?
Mm-hmm.
And then
Yeah.
And
I
our one
myself got
too.
pregnant, and Lashinda said it perfectly that like she was mad at herself for being mad at herself. Because
Yep.
I literally was just like, this is a time I'm supposed to be excited, but I'm not really because what about my career?
Mm.
And it's sobering in that I found solace in finding out that other women go through the same thing,
Yeah.
and women in sports, but women in general as well.
Mm.
Um, but then it's even more sobering to think that I have to find comfort in this struggle for women. Like,
Mm-hmm.
why is this even a struggle?
Yeah.
You know? And so,
Yeah.
again, I mean, giving you the flowers to not only like just do it and do it so well to the point where we didn't know that all of this was going on behind the scenes, but to share the ugly side of what is supposed to be so beautiful. And again, to not just share, but to move into the space and do with
Right.
Ann Mother and with your platform and your advocacy. I mean, Alysia, what
Can I ask one
are
question?
you, there's something bad in your life. Like there's some like you're not this perfect. I'm kidding.
I'm not. Yeah.
She is
I don't
perfect.
know. I wish that
Don't
there
ever
was
come at
No,
me
you're
on
perfect.
that
Perfect.
again. Don't ever. I will fight you today. What we will not do is see Montano slay on track all summer. I want to know, what statement were you trying to make when you were running pregnant?
Oh my
Like,
gosh.
what did you
Well,
want? Obviously, you shocked the world, but it was like, what did you want them to get?
honestly, I didn't think that the world was watching track. I'm like dead serious. I was really like, so much of a battle was happening, or had happened with um, my former sponsor. And again, like, I think one of the hardest things, I'm just gonna say this really quick, when I'm talking about Nike, is like, I want for every athlete that's supported by Nike and getting paid by Nike to like have people keep looking towards Nike, like those athletes that are Nike athletes being supported. So sometimes I have a hard time calling out the entity like that is Nike versus like the people within it that are still doing good. So I'm just gonna say that. Like, I feel like there's not like enough spaces where I could say, hey, we are still rooting for, homegirl, Serena. Like, oops, sorry everybody. There's other names in there, but Serena's at the forefront of my mind. So just want to put that out there.
Isn't she
Um,
always?
right.
That's fair. That's
Yeah.
and we have to be able to compartmentalize is the word that I'm thinking about. But
Right.
like it is
It
bad,
definitely
but we're not gonna throw what's the saying? Throw the baby out with the water or
with the
something like that.
bathwater.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Bathwater.
Exactly.
Y'all know what I
There definitely was a time, and probably some left over, where the whole operation needed to get shut down. So I want to also give whoever is in house right now that's trying, that's the young, you know, new employee, and they're like, oh, I'm gonna make a difference here, and then they still are like, oh, whoops, I didn't really, So I just want to say, like, and acknowledge work probably is being done that is good,
Mhm.
and part of that is continuing to support women athletes, even if they're Nike athletes. So, like,
Yeah.
let's go ahead and do that. But that whole conversation, there was a whole battle that was happening with Nike that was so dehumanizing. I mean, you guys, I feel like part of this has to be like, a whole nother conversation. Just the way that the core group of people that handle track and field athletes treated the athletes is a whole nother story beyond pregnancy. I really will just say that. And that was just an element that definitely was like, oh, you guys already treat me like this. If I add this to it, it's going to be a nightmare.
Mm-hmm.
And so being able to walk away, have a company believe in me that was, going to be paying me 3 times the amount that Nike was paying me, and didn't believe that I deserved. Yet, when we talk about this, when we talk about this, the reason why I'm talking about the pay gap is this is the pay gap between black and white athletes. An athlete that had come after me that I was, And just so you guys know, like, they're talking about your money. Um, she came after me, and she was, their hope that what didn't look like me. She was getting paid the amount that I went and fought for somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
And really, because literally told to my face I didn't fit their look. I'm dead serious. Like, I was told, and what does that mean? What does that mean to a black woman? What does that mean? I don't fit your look. Like, you know. So that's a whole nother like thing to unpack on top of the pregnancy statements. And so
And I would
heading,
like to say, I mean, if you're the 7-time US champ, I don't know where in where she could
yeah.
have picked up the accolades you had. I don't know who it is, but I'm just saying.
I'm about to go find out, but
And so it was just wild, just to kind of be in that position, and also when you're negotiating and talking, and then be offered like less when you're like, okay, I gotta go, like this is crazy. Um, anyway, so again, I talked about how there was a woman there and having a conversation with her, and then believing in you and your like goals, and mentioning life goals outside of track and field without using the word maternity and pregnancy, and having it sort of built in the contract. I'm super sad to say that I never used the words maternity um, for a contract, because I just didn't know what I needed to do as pre-pregnancy. But I mentioned, like very under like other sentences, just because I was in negotiations and I was terrified to have a target. So that's part of like where I showed up to the track, and I was like, we need to stop being afraid of life happening, and life for women can also include pregnancy and motherhood, and they need to be supported to get back to. So that's like the long short version to like where I ended up on the track in 2014, pregnant, wearing my uniform. And I was 34 weeks pregnant at the time, which I don't know how many months that is.
that's
Um,
a pop. Pregnancy
well,
No,
for
but she
me,
was
like,
huge.
oh yeah, and
the
at that time too,
belly.
I was running like 3 times a week, So, and for me, it was like, oh, all I gotta do is run like about 3 minutes. I can do that. Like, so it didn't even occur to me that people thought that, I was running fast. It didn't even occur to me that, oh, you're at a race. It was like, in my mind, oh, I'm running 3 minutes, and here's what we gonna do. We're gonna show what it looks like to be professional woman athlete that's continuing her career, and this is what it looks like when we like also add family to it. We saw Bernard Lagat, where we celebrate his son and his daughter, like, and he's running around the track with them, like we celebrate all of that. We saw our boy Kobe, with his daughters, and all that stuff, and we see these men athletes, rest in peace. But we don't see, we hadn't been seeing our women athletes, because what ended up being the story and the statistics, and also the talk to, like, the behind the scenes chatter was, oh, like, her career's over, or if you want to have a family, you have to retire first, which is a choice. Like, you can totally say, I don't think I'll be able to focus on all these things, because I'm going to let you know it is also a lot, to just manage the schedule and the things, and you care about this person that you brought into the world.
But that should be
um,
your choice.
and it should be your choice. And so, like, that's kind of what my thought process was. Is like, I have a BERTH. I have a birth to be here. I'm the defending national champion. I get to be here. My spot is here. I'm gonna take my spot, and I'm gonna show you guys what it looks like. I also saw the writings on the wall. Like, I need to run this one, have to show up to USA Nationals. So I was also in a space of protecting my contract,
Mm-hmm.
of like, okay, well, if I am not able to do all these other things, like, let me do this. Even though our marketing manager, or athlete manager, was like, don't worry about your contract. Don't worry about, just like, we want you to focus on your whatever you need to do to have a happy and healthy pregnancy, and we'll see you the next season. She was very, very positive. Her name is Amy Adams. Love her. So, like, don't call her. She's good. And it was awesome, and I felt very supported. So I also felt like, I'm going to wear the uniform. I'm going to support my company, and hopefully they'll find. And I emailed several times saying, hey, if you guys need me to do any appearances, wherever you need me to do, like, other things I can do besides run fast, I can be there, and that's why I showed up. I don't know. I feel like visibility matters. We don't see it, and I was able to be there. And then it also turned out to be a very great time to talk about exercise and pregnancy, and how stop telling me, like, what are you doing running? Stop telling me, that I need to be laying down and just like grab, just be eating. Like, stop telling me all those things. Stop assuming that my pregnancy is your pregnancy,
Okay.
especially our men. Okay. So,
I listen,
yeah.
Alysia, I won't
That was a word. Natasha, could you please do the
but
because I need that for that moment.
I just let me just say, like, we're gonna wrap it up, but
Yeah.
you absolutely have to come back. And like when we get off, I'm gonna write down all the topics because there's so many topics that like because
Yeah.
you champion all the things that we need to talk
Yeah.
about with you.
This is a series.
My camera about to die.
Yeah.
But I what I do want to talk about is the moment that you gave the brand that was a missed moment, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
In the sense of and we can talk about how they did Allison as well, that was like while you're over here saying that, oh no, go over here, we can't do anything with you, sit down.
Mm-hmm.
What about like everything that you just said? You out here celebrating this man. Here I am showing
Mm-hmm.
up, the reigning champion, big belly and all. I'm championing myself, number one, that I'm
Yes.
still Alysia. Like, yes, I'm about to be a mom, but I am Alysia first and foremost, the
Right.
reigning
Will
champion.
always be.
Will
Mm-hmm.
always be. I'm championing fitness in moms. Like you said, I don't have to
Yeah.
go lay down somewhere. This ain't your pregnancy. This is mine. This is my space. I'm taking up this space. And that was
Right.
a moment that that brand could have used because you know what I also remember about that moment? It was a viral moment.
It was. Yeah. That's
But
right.
I also
Yeah.
think a
And
lot
I
of the
came
powers that
back.
be are men,
Yeah.
and so they're not thinking like you like they're not thinking like, did I freeze again? Gosh darn it, did I freeze again?
You did.
Yes. It's okay. Keep
Sorry.
going.
I'm
Start
saying
from
a lot of the powers that be are men, and so they're not thinking like, that pregnant women work out, like like because the whole point of us of us getting sponsorship are to be walking billboards, and it's like, yeah, we may not be advertising to elite athletes, to people who are
hmm
trying to but like there's still a demographic, but because you don't care, you don't see that demographic, you don't see the
Right.
value in me, and it's like, I'm so valuable, I have worth that I can bring to you, but if you don't see those people as athletes, as people who are active, you don't see
Right.
the worth in me being pregnant.
That's
But
right.
hey, that's so true. But Alicia, you also said something in other words that to me like just summed it all up, right? They don't see us.
Mm-hmm.
But what was more important was for you, Alicia, to see you.
Mm.
Like,
Don't be making me out here talking about
no,
nothing.
just even breaking it down to like I didn't know how to go in that room and ask for a maternity clause. I wasn't thinking about that. I would none of us were.
Hmm.
None of us
Right.
were.
Yeah.
None of us like even the thought that that's an option. How dare
I,
I
I
ask for
never
something like that?
Mm-hmm.
You saw
I've never thought I could be pregnant and an athlete. I've always been like, this uterus is closed for business, like, because this body is dedicated to track. And
Mm-hmm.
until I get off the track, I'm not using it for anything else. And you guys are showing me that,
yeah.
I could pop out a kid if I wanted to. I mean, I have, but
Okay. On that note, Kori.
We need choice. We need choice to just be a word that everybody knows.
Mhm.
Like that's just what it is.
Mhm.
Um, and yeah, I really appreciate you saying that too. Just like the validation, and also like noting that future generations are going to, you know, reap positive benefits from our struggle, which is like the goal isn't to struggle through my whole life. You know what I mean? But like, if, please, I don't really need to prove any more points. But,
And those
but
beautiful babies that you're now leaving behind a
thank you. Thank you. I
But
mean, you know what's crazy though too? Speaking of another baby, I've had three now, and I thought that in my career, like I was like only going to be only, you know, babies. They're one, two, three, however many. But I was going to have two babies because I was like, oh, you know, like doing the math, like in my mind of minds, in my dream life, without knowing what pregnancy is like, I was like, I'm gonna have four kids, you know, and I'm gonna, because I grew up in a really big family, and I
mhm.
just like love our
I
vibe, you
have
know
a
what I
really
mean? You know what I mean? But it's like the vessel to being having the big family is a thing. Um, I was like, okay, so we're gonna be able to do two. If I do 2016, then I can, and then I have enough time before 2020. Like I'm doing the math, but still going through this and having this conversation with my sponsor at the time in 2016, I kind of like blew my foot off in a lot of ways by thinking that we've moved into a different space that we hadn't. Because I said, you know, what's your next 5 years? They love asking that question, like um, and I'm like, well, you know, I want to be able to add a sibling for Linnea. Well, not for Linnea. Sorry, Aster, you're more than a sibling for Linnea. Uh, I want to be able to. My son, I love you, Aster. You're more than that, son. I wanted to be able to, you know, talking to me, like I wanted to be able to add another child to our family. And then I want to make the 2020 team. Like this is a conversation you're just having normally, and it was crickets. And I was like, I just ruined my next like re-up of like because it's the new guys and like thinking that we'd gone through this conversation, like talked about how we felt about what happened when they did the whole thing. They saw me win nationals after 6 and 10 months postpartum, still
We didn't even
breastfeeding.
get to that. Yes, say that again.
Yeah, I after having this conversation with them, talking. So my new sponsors at the time, when it was the woman who left after I had my baby, they came back and they were like, "Oh, we want to talk about your performance." They said that part, and I was like furious. You know, just had the baby, didn't even say congratulations. And I was like, you know what? You just need to focus on what you need to do for you. And I came back and I won nationals at 6 months postpartum. I broke an American record. We won the world relay gold medal at 8 months postpartum, where I was breastfeeding and shipping back breast milk. I
I'll
won
drop.
nationals, outdoor nationals at 10 months postpartum. I made the world championship team. I mean, it was just like, you know, walked all the
She's
walks.
a
And Kori,
mother.
Uh, and Kori, I wanted to bring back what you said. You had to do 10 times more. So I did all of that postpartum, all of those things. It was like, okay, I need to like get my head above water. I moved like, you know, to get help, did all these crazy things, you know. And then I was like 2016, eyes like head just focus, straight up focus. Um, and you know, like you said, you need to do 10 times more. Everything has to be perfect. I ate it with, what was it, like 90
Oh yeah,
meters left to go,
I remember
you know,
this.
feeling amazing. Like, even, you know, I was literally on a run today and I was like, I hate that when I still think about that moment, I have a visceral, like, body freeze. Like, I just feel, how many years has it been? And it just feels like, oh, everything is ruined. And it's like one time, but I just, knowing the history that we've had and fighting for everything, I knew I had to make that team. Otherwise, I was mincemeat. Um, but also hoping that, you know, there'd be more to helping share, you know, our stories of professional athletes, and thinking that, oh, if I share that I also want to continue our family and then come back for 2020, it was a good thing. And then just being like, oh, you're still so naive and you still think they care about women and they care about moms. They don't. And so, you know, I came back, and so from that, like, they were like, so we're not going to continue your contract. I was literally, I can't even. So, anyways, there's lots of periods of time that people don't even know about that was so devastating that I was like, I can't even believe this has been my career like this. After everything that I've done, 10 times more, right? And I was like, I'm still gonna have Aster, so I'm still gonna go for it. And I hope that I'll be able to earn a contract to fight for a spot on the 2020 team. And so I'm so happy that I still did that, and the conversations still were what they were because I ran at 5 months pregnant without a sponsor now, with Aster, with full intentions of coming back and trying to make the 2020 team. As you guys know, without any support, and this is also part of the story, without any support, just because you want to have
Family.
add to your family after having proven that I can do it, it just wasn't enough. So yeah, it was just kind of impossible to come back for that. But the best thing that happened, talking about all my babies, is that I was trying to do what I could, lots of hustle, like all sorts of ways to like try to support myself, burning through savings to try to make this, make it to the 2020, at least an opportunity to even try for 2020. And I was just like, I feel like someone's missing. I feel like somebody is missing. Like have talked about, oh, we're only gonna be able to do two, even though I was like, four's too many. We can do three though. But I'm not. I need to make. I want to make this team. We're gonna do it. We're gonna get us. And then time kept ticking by, And then we're looking at literally 2019. And I was all like, I can't. I have to literally end up working in marketing. Like I have to go in 9 to 5 because like I can't. Like this is gonna be so silly that everything I worked for. We're gonna burn to try to validate yourself and prove to people that just that you're a good athlete. Like how much more do I have to do? So
How much more?
that's how we got Lennox.
And it just sucks because I feel like you have accomplished so much, and you said like I have to make this team or I mince meat, and it's like you had made so many, like you had already made all the teams,
Yeah,
you've done all the things, and yet like, you're still like you still have to prove yourself, which is insane to me because you're such a talent, and I feel like, but it's so true that without that financial support, this sport is
yeah,
impossible to do.
yeah.
At the level that you need to be able to focus.
Right.
But I
And
don't.
even after having done all that, though, too, like, again, I didn't know what this op-ed was going to do. Like Natasha talked about, it did allow for me to believe in myself and know my story is true and real, and that I did so many great things. Like like it took me obviously scrambling for 2 years trying to figure it all out, and then saying off record and telling the whole story to New York Times had been asking me for years since Linnea was born, and I was trying to spin it positive and say, oh, off record, because you're like, if I tell the truth about this, no one's gonna want to sponsor me, And that's what it felt. It feels like that's how these systems end up silencing, people like myself and people who are the marginalized group of people, is because you're like terrified that you're not gonna have another opportunity if you tell the truth. And so without having any of that, it did let me say, you know what, like maybe I'm gonna help somebody else by telling the truth. That's all you got to do, Alysia, is just tell the truth. And so I did say, hey, you know what, on record, I really have nothing to lose, and know it from there. Like I did end up getting, I have so many amazing sponsors now. Like 2019 was such, just by living in my truth, literally living in my truth. And that's what I thought I was doing in 2016 when I shared this. But like truthfully, the ins and the outs, what needs to be done for the future, wanting to make a change, knowing that it was bigger than myself. I was being looked over. Like I was like 29. Kate and Shay came on board, and they were like, how do we support you? How do we support moms? How do we support future endeavors? It's where Ann Mother was born, and where we came up with, let's try to create what we called it, a maternity support fund, which was childcare grant. It was, if you needed a nanny or a partner or anybody to come with you with your child to compete. This is all that we did offer. We picked 3 core athletes, and then from there, that was like our starting point. And then from there, we were able to give out a ton of small grants to help wherever needed. Any mom, just so everybody's watching, any mom that is needing some support just needs to write to Ann Mother, tell us your story, tell us about yourself. And we want to be able to figure out ways to help moms who want to pursue and thrive in both their career and their motherhood. So from there, thank you, Kate and Shay, Big Soldier Running, Picky Bars, like the whole crew, Spring Energy. I could totally do my whole list of of People Hustle Clean that have been such a great support since then. Like I said, I was like, all like, I don't know, just your poster 800-meter runner to like rags to like, you know, I don't know, Mother Teresa of moms. I'm like, I don't know what my story is. I don't know where this book is going. I'm just gonna be here reading it with you guys.
Well, I know another one is coming, so let's make sure we
Yes.
plug the Feel Good
Yeah.
Fitness.
Yes, and I feel like I don't want to take up any more of your time. I'm going to close out the show now, but I appreciate you because I feel like you have turned your struggles into avenues to help other people. And I want people to connect with you and all the amazing things you're doing. So, like Tasha just pointed out, go buy her book. We're gonna link all of this in the description box. We'll also include that op-ed piece because I think it's very powerful.
Yes.
Um, you have a podcast called Keeping Track.
Right.
You have your foundation and mother, and you know if you are watching NBC and checking on Track and Field, you can get Alysia's insights as an amazing broadcaster.
And I've got
And
a clothing line out. Bloom with Kate and Shay in collaboration with Kate and Shay. So we're going to be dropping some more items, but right now you can get the Thrive bra, you can get the Bloom Blossom top, you can get the Captivate tights, you could get the booty shorts.
I'm gonna get a booty short. I ain't got no booty.
You
I'm gonna get
know,
the short. Yeah.
all you
Okay.
gotta do is drop some squats from Feel Good Fitness. The booty gonna start growing. But yeah, that's the Bloom line in collaboration with Kate and Shay.
Nice.
Okay. We'll make sure to link all of that, and you know, I'll have to get some for the fit check. But make sure that you follow Alysia at Alysia Montano. Her Instagram is full of lots of inspiration and the cutest kids you'll ever see. Natasha, don't come at me. Liam's also the cutest kid you'll ever see. But like,
I know, I wasn't even thinking about him. I was like, they are cute.
passed out. Kobu is passed out. And my son, hands down, the cutest dog you're ever gonna see at the Kobu Monster. Make sure you follow Natasha and I on all the things. Follow Track Girl Summer. Subscribe. Go to our website. Get yourself a t-shirt or a hat. Get your mom a t-shirt and a hat. She said she wanted one. And, you know, remember that no matter no matter what time of year it is, it's always a Track Girl Summer, baby. Thank you guys. Thank you, Alysia. Alysia,
You
don't go
have to
though.
come back.
Thank you. I will.